Wade, so great to see you, man.
Hey, great to be seen, right? These days, we're not seeing a whole lot of people, except on the phone. So
Yeah.
yeah, but you get closer with your family, I think, because we talk to them a lot more than we do normally. So that's a good part of it.
You came back from L.A.
Yep.
Kind of at the start of this, right? I mean, tell me how that whole thing worked.
Yeah, we were moving about the time all this stuff really started coming about. So as soon as we got here, everybody's staying indoors. So it's like the Groundhog Day movie. I mean, it seems like the same thing every day.
We lost one of the iconic coaches the other day, Don Shula. That was, I couldn't believe how old he was. I keep thinking,
Well, yeah.
He can't be that old, but what are
Yeah.
your thoughts on Coach?
Yeah, I mean, all-time best. I mean, there's no doubt about that. I think Belichick's coming on to try to challenge him, but all the wins he had, like my dad said, he could take his and beat yours, or he could take yours and beat his, and that's a sign of a great coach.
I remember the first time I was asking Bum about Red Miller.
Right.
And he said, he used that line, he can take urine, he can
Yep.
take urine.
Yep.
I mean, that was such a great line at the time, it was genius.
Oh yeah. Well, I always accused my dad of having a writer or something that came up with those things, but he naturally came up with a lot of funny stuff or fun stuff.
You're very funny yourself. I don't know if you get enough credit for your sense of humor.
Well, I don't know either, but no, I enjoy life. I mean, I think I learned that from my dad. You got to enjoy life, and certainly enjoy what you're doing when you're whatever profession you're in, especially coaching. I mean, gosh, how much fun is that? It really is.
All the players that played for you, it doesn't matter if you were a youngster starting out, Elvin Bethea talking about you, or J.J. Watt. I mean, how is that you always figured out a way, no matter what age you were, what age they were, to relate to these guys?
Well, I think it's just working with people. I mean, you have the same goal, which is to win and them to play good, and as long as they know you're on their side and trying to help them, I mean, that's the way I've always just approached it.
Well, they appreciate you.
Well, I appreciated them too, and that was one thing about my dad too, is he wasn't afraid to have friendships. I mean, how many coaches all their players call him Bum, or their first name? They didn't call Don Shula Don, and he was a great coach. I don't mean that, and the players liked him, but it's just it's personal, That's why all the guys, I have them call me Coach Wade, because Coach Park, because I'm proud of being a coach, and I think that's important. That's respect. But then Wade, instead of Coach Phillips, because my dad was Coach Phillips, but Wade is more personal, and I want to be personal. I want it to be personal. I mean, I still love those guys. I mean, J.J. and all those. I saw J.J. here, I don't know, last year, I guess, in the car, and I was walking or something, and he stopped and, just says hello. I mean, it's really neat.
Those relationships with the Texans, the Rams, it's just, I mean, think of the talent that Reggie White.
Yeah.
I mean, you have legendary guys that you coached, and they all showed you so much respect. I mean, there are great players, and they're coached by coaches, but they get along with them or don't get along.
Yeah, I've been lucky to be with a lot of great players. I mean, you say, Reggie White, obviously, but the three Oilers are in the Hall of Fame. I mean, I was with all three of those guys. I coached Robert Brazil when I first came in, and I coached Curly and Elvin, the next year. So, and in fact, coaching those guys, they could do, whatever you ask them to do, they could do, And I was 27 years old, 28 years old, and I thought I was a heck of a coach, I think, man, when I go somewhere else, I found out those guys, when you told them to do it, they couldn't really do those things. So I learned a lot that way, too. I learned a lot from them. So But yeah, Reggie White, Bruce Smith, you know, lately J.J. Watt, Von Miller, DeMarcus Ware, Aaron Donald, a lot of defensive players of the year, not just really good players, but and all of them had the same. All of them were the same. They all wanted to be better, even though they're great players, and they all had heart. You know, they all had that you know, some players just don't have. But they have it.
Have you watched any of this Michael Jordan thing, The Last Dance? Have you watched that documentary?
Not much. I hadn't seen much of it, but you know,
getting a lot of publicity about. Oh man, he was so driven. He was so passionate. That's the guys you're talking about. That's the qualities.
That's right.
Have.
That's exactly right. Yeah, and the other part of it is, they were all great, but they thought they could get better. You know, I mean, every one of them, to a T, every one of them didn't think they were the best. You know, I mean, they knew they were the best, but I mean, they knew they could do better. They felt like they could do better. They always try, just like you say, they're always striving to be better, and that's a really unique thing when with anybody. I mean, you know, just trying to be better all the time, because you think at some point you know what you're doing or you know how to do it, but they found better ways and tried harder or whatever it was, whatever it took.
Hey, Mike, shall I get that for a wide shot over here? I've never heard you tell the story on camera before. I want to ask you about, there was an incident we were talking about when you were a young coach, coaching these Hall of Famers, but there was an incident in San Angelo that happened, and what exactly happened there? You were down coaching the defensive players. Right,
I was coaching Elvin, and I really believe Elvin hadn't been coached a whole lot in that he was such a good player. And in those days, you just kind of let him play. And I was coming from college, so, you know, this technique, that technique, step with this foot, that kind of thing. And so we were doing a drill, and I said, Hutton, do it. And I said, no, Elvin, you need to step 45-degree angle, you know, do it again. Well, I'm sure that nobody had ever said, hey, Elvin, you need to do something again, and you can do it better. Well, that happened about 2 or 3 times. And if you know my dad and really the atmosphere, I mean, all of a sudden, Elvin, you know, he's got this new coach that's telling him all this stuff. My dad was on the tower, you know, Bum was on the tower up there. And so Elvin's out there, and he said, hey, Bum. He said, Wade's out here coaching his ass off. Just
How did you react to that?
Everybody laughed. Everybody fell out. I mean, everybody laughed. I mean, you know, and because that was the atmosphere. I mean, the guys could certainly say things they wanted to say, but you know, Elvin's such a great guy. It was just, you knew he wasn't, you know, it wasn't mean. It was just, you know, he was getting coached, and he didn't like some of that.
Oh, that's funny. You know, I guess you learned at a young age, you guys could be coaching your ass off. The players could be playing well. You could have success, and you could be out of a job. How did that affect
Tell me about it.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. You learned that at a young age. So
yeah.
How did that affect you going forward? You've been in this coaching career so long. How did that affect the way you looked at your job?
Yeah, I mean, that's exactly right. I mean, you just do the best you can. That's when I found out. Somebody else makes the decision. And my dad said, you know, even though he was fired by Bud Adams, he didn't have any, he wasn't mean about it or ever say, hey, you know, I don't like Bud, because he said Bud paid me every day and I worked as hard as I could. You know, and somebody makes a decision that can make those decisions, you know, that's the way it goes. You know, that's part of the profession. But it doesn't mean, if they just fired bad coaches, you know, I'd worry about it. But they fire good coaches too. And hopefully I was one of those several times.
When you think back.
And, you know, we won 35 games with the Rams the last 3 years, you know.
Yeah, let's talk about that.
Yeah, so I mean.
You're out of a job, and the Rams are pretty good football team.
Yeah, they've done a good job there. And they got some good players, and you know, I like everybody there. So, and my son coaches there, so I'm pulling for him.
Was that a surprise? Tough pill to swallow?
Yeah, I mean, when you're successful, I mean, we were in the Super Bowl 2 years ago and played pretty good in that game, you know. The last 5 years, I think I've been in, 57 wins, 2 Super Bowls, and won one of them. So, you know, it's really been the most games I've been around a winning team in the last 5 years, you know. I've been around a lot of winning teams. We won a lot of games. We won some games with the Texans and won some playoff games, and, you know, but this last stretch has been pretty good. You know, I was hoping somebody would hire me just because I'm lucky.
What are the prospects out there? You want to coach again, don't you? Or do you want to just kick back? You know, you and Laurie have a great place here. What is your?
No, I still want to coach. I mean, you know, that's what I do. That's what I feel like I can help. I feel like I can help somebody, and so, you know, maybe somebody needs a consultant. Maybe I definitely qualify as a senior assistant. If they need a senior, I qualify there. So, yeah, something like that. I still like. I love the game, and I love being around the players and teaching. You know, that kind of thing. So you know, I'd like to be there, but I don't have the control to do that. So.
Your dad would be shocked at how much money coaches can make now. I mean, you've got to be proud of how. I know I've asked you about this before. Your head coaching record is better than most. Your winning percentage.
Yeah.
But the way you've been able to make a living and do this, I mean, he would be stunned.
Oh yeah, yeah. The money for the players has always been going up, but it's been going up for coaches too. I mean, you know, there's head coaches obviously more than an assistant coach, but yeah, everybody's kind of joined in the success of the league.
Yeah, it's been a very good thing.
Yeah.
Does Wes want to be a head coach?
I want him to be. Yeah, I mean, he wants to be a coordinator first, I think, and I mean that's a step that you don't just jump from one to the other normally. But I think you know, I know he could be a coordinator. I'm prejudiced that way, but he's a heck of a coach, and everybody's around him says that. So not just me. So, but we're proud of him, and I think he'll. You know, you still got to get the right breaks. I mean, it's not easy. You know, most of my head coaching jobs came when I was where I was. You know, I think only interviewed for the Dallas job was the only one I got that I wasn't already there. You know, they knew me, and so they hired me. So it's not easy. You know, it's not easy to get to that position.
What do you think about the NFL right now? We've had a lot of shuffling of talent around. I was looking for, man, this is going to be an exciting season, but what are your thoughts? Now you're going to sit back and watch a little bit with this.
Yeah, it seemed like a little more than the people are. I guess contracts are getting so big that, you know, they have to let people go or try to replace them with a draft choice or those kind of things. So that seems to be happening quite a bit. But there's always a bit, you know, a third of your team changes every year. So I mean, it's a very competitive business and tough to stay in the league.
Have you kept track of the Texans?
Yeah, sure. Sometimes no, I'm back in Houston. The McNair family was great to me while I was here, and I know Cal, and a lot of the people are still working there, you know. And it's my hometown team. So wherever if I'm in Houston, I'm for the Cougars, you know, and I'm for the Texans, and the Roughnecks when they were playing. So,
Wasn't
you know,
that a shame?
Yeah, they did a good job too.
I felt bad for Oliver.
Oh yeah, sure.
Felt bad for Oliver.
Yeah.
So Anthony Weaver, defensive coordinator.
Yeah.
I'm excited about that. What are your thoughts on Anthony?
Yeah, I don't really know him.
You don't.
I came in after he was gone. Shawn Cody was still there, but who had, you know, played a long time.
Yeah.
But I hear good things about him. So and obviously, you know, they've done a good job there. People, you keep winning that division. That's a tough division, and they've done that. So, you know, they've built a pretty good football team, and I think, you know, hopefully they'll do better and better.
You've always spoken so positively about Jerry Jones. You keep up with Cowboys and and those guys? Or?
Yeah, I'm trying to get Jerry to let me ride on his boat, you know. Although it's a ship, it's not a boat, I guess. But yeah, I mean, I still got friends everywhere, you know. Some of them are the PR guys, some of them are the coach's assistant, you know, used to be secretaries, and you know, so we've got friends everywhere that you know, we pull for them.
Has that been the best about your career? You've talked about players, friends and administration and stuff. Is that, if you sit here right now, hopefully you're going to be coaching for a number of more years, but if you sit here right now as you kind of put your coaching career on pause, is that been the best thing?
Oh yeah, and you know, I talked about those great players, Reggie White, Bruce Smith, you know, all those guys I talked about, but all the great people I've met. I mean, that's what, to me, that's life. You know, that's where you enjoy life. You enjoy meeting people. You enjoy friends. You enjoy the friendships. And once you have a friend, you might not see them for 10 years, but they're still a great friend of yours. You know, because you have those same feelings. So, you know, those. I met those kind of outstanding people too. You know, they might not be the all-pro player, but they're still outstanding in my life.
Can you leave us with one bumism that stands out above all the others? Could you leave this one or a weightism?
Well, you know, my favorite, you know, with Dad was when Earl Campbell couldn't make the mile. You know, when they off season, the preseason.
Tell us about that.
Yeah, in the preseason, Earl, they were going to run the preseason test to see if they were in shape. Well, our guys, for some reason, decided they were going to run the mile to see if the guys were in shape. Normally they run 40-yard dashes, you know, that kind of thing. Well, everybody that knows Earl Campbell with 34-inch thighs wasn't really a miler. So he went about half a mile and stepped off the track, and so he didn't make it. And of course, you media guys, you know, all of them ran up to Bum and said, "Bum, what are you going to do? You know, Earl didn't make the mile." He said, "Well, hell, if it's third and a mile, we won't give it to him." He said, "But we'll give it to him the rest of the time," and we did.